Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Rowe. We're taking a look at intermediate algebra. This is part B. I didn't put that, but it is part B. We're focusing on lesson 13, and we're going to look at the first four problems. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you what exactly you need to show me for your work and how each one should be solved. So here's number one, or something like number one. So this is a straight proportion type problem. It is a rational expression. So here, all you really need to do, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why I cut that off, is to just do a cross product. So this one just requires a cross product. Let me make that a little narrower there. So we need to multiply those. So 8 times x is 8x. Negative 5 times 13 is negative 65. And once you get here, ladies and gentlemen, all that is required is that you isolate the variable by dividing each side. And then, unless that works out evenly or reduces, that is a done deal. So very simple. That's how you do kind of like number one. All right, so now we're getting a little more complicated here. So now we've got x minus 7 divided by 6. So we've got a binomial divided by a constant equals 14 divided by 5. A little more complicated, but not too much. So still same process. We're going to take a cross product. All right, so now here's where you got to be careful. When you take that first cross product, we got 5 times x minus 7. So you notice what I did there. Put it in parentheses. Equals 6 times 14. And why did I do that? Because I wanted to emphasize that here you're going to distribute the 5 to both terms of the binomial. So we'll get 5x minus 35. And on the other side, 6 times 14 is 84. And now it just becomes a two-step equation. So we're going to add 35 to each side. And 5x is going to equal 84 plus 35, which is 119. And just like the last one, last step, we're going to divide both sides by 5. And unless that simplifies by either reducing or becomes a whole number, perfectly good answer, 119 over 5. All right, so there's your process. That's really how I want to see it. I'm getting a lot of work where you're doing it straight across on one line. Please don't do that. That is so difficult to find where you make a mistake. Show it like this so I can see each step and see what mistakes you're having. Trust me, you're not going to run out of space. All right, so here's an example like number 3. So getting a little more complicated still. We've got a binomial divided by a constant on each side. Process is still the same. I'm going to take a cross product because this is really still just a proportion. We hadn't really gotten to the more difficult kind of problems yet. So 3 times 3x plus 1 equals 5 times 7x plus 2. And again, what do I have to do? And I did this to emphasize that I have to distribute on each side. That's going to give me 9x plus 3. Distribute on this side. That's going to give me 35x plus 10. And now it's a matter of solving this multi-step equation by isolating x. So remember, at this point, if you've watched some of my other recordings, there is a 4-step process you follow for any multi-step problem. Number 1, distribute. Number 2, combine like terms on the same side. So split down the middle, combine terms on the left, combine terms on the right. Step 3, that's where we're at, is to move the variable to the same side by either addition or subtraction. So, and typically what I like to do is I like to move the smaller variable, so the one that has a smaller value, to the side where the larger one is. So in this case, I want to subtract 9x from each side. Those are going to cancel. That leaves 3. And then 35 minus 9 is 26. And now it's just a 2-step equation. If after you get past moving the variables to the same side, if you don't have a 2-step equation, take a step back and see what you've done, because you probably made just a little error. So we're going to subtract 10 from each side now. That gives me negative 7 equals 26x. And last step, divide both sides by 26. And again, if this doesn't simplify, you're done. I mean, so this final answer, because this will not simplify, negative 20 or negative 7 over 26. All right, and our last example for this recording, this is where we're starting to get a little more complicated. We've got 8 divided by x plus 5/12 equals 3. Lots of different ways you can do this. You can work with fractions, try to make it into a proportion. I'm going to show you something I think is the easiest thing to do. We're going to find the LCD. And we're going to use that to cancel out the fractions. So in this case, the LCD, and this is the case for any of them, the LCD is a combination of factors of the denominator, all the denominators. So in this case, we've got an x, we've got a 12. So my LCD has to be 12x. Remember I said it was a combination. And so what I do is I'm going to multiply by the LCD. So I'm going to type that in here. Multiply by the LCD. I'm going to put all terms by the LCD. In this case, I'm multiplying this entire problem by 12x. And so this is how that's going to look. We're going to have 12x times 8 over x plus 12x times 5 over 12 equals 12x times 3. Everything gets multiplied by the LCD. And what does that do? All right, so here, because there's in this, and I'm looking at this first fraction right here, these x's are kind of common terms, so they're going to cancel. And what does that leave? That leaves me 12 times 8. 12 times 8, 96. Same thing in the second one. Now, what cancels here? What do they have in common? They have 12s in common, so the 12s are going to cancel. That leaves me with 5x. On the other side, it was just a whole number times another expression. So 12x times 3 is 36x. And again, now this becomes a multi-step process. I'm going to go through my steps. I'm at step where I have to move the variables to the same side by addition or subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 5x from each side. Those are going to cancel. It's going to leave me 96 equals 31x. And again, one-step problem here. So I'm going to divide by 31. And again, unless that simplifies, reduces, becomes a whole number, just leave that improper fraction. I'm perfectly happy with an improper fraction. So 96 over 31 is my final answer. So I hope this helps you with numbers 1 through 4. This is lesson 13, Intermediate Algebra B. If you still have questions or you need further assistance, please send me a teacher message or make an appointment for a help session.